Meet again when and where it's arranged. Until then, be cool." He extended his hand and they all shook. The driver stayed in the Navigator and Edward Brand and the others walked up the deserted street to their vehicles. One at a time, they started the motors and pulled away from the curb, each heading in a different direction. Brand's car was the last to leave. As he pulled onto the deserted street, he allowed himself a smile. Christ, were they going to be shocked? They always were. They never saw it coming. Never. Chapter 1. Taylor Simmons kept her mouth shut. The next person to speak would lose. She let her gaze drift about the boardroom. 6 other people sat on the stainless steel and leather chairs. 3 of them were her staff, the key personnel and designers who had spent 8 weeks putting together the ad campaign. The other 3 were the executive team with Hammer Fire Incorporated, an international corporation out of New York that developed and marketed fitness equipment. Their newest line of cardio machines was sleek and very expensive. Their target market were the rich and pampered, who thought they were devoted enough to work out at home, and every high-end fitness facility in America and Europe that catered to the same people when they found buying the equipment was the easy part. Actually, using it was completely different. Her staff was quiet, unmoving, and focused on nothing in particular. They were masters at this segment of the game. Deliver the presentation, answer any questions, then shut up. Let the clients make their decision based on the work. It seldom failed. "So the bottom line is $6.2 million, said the most senior of the Hammerfire executives. She had them. "That's correct, Don," Taylor said. "And there'll be no cost overruns?" "None. We have the quotes for television and print guaranteed for the time frames you need. Our figures are accurate to the dollar." "Okay, Taylor," he said, standing and extending his hand. "You've got the contract." "Thanks," she said, shaking his hand. She turned to one of her staff members. "Do you have the paperwork, Reg?" The man nodded and flipped open a file. "Right here." He slid it across the table to the executive. "I'll need a couple of signatures." 20 minutes later, Taylor Simmons retreated to her corner office and dropped into her padded chair. She hated the uncomfortable and harsh chairs in the boardroom, but her clients expected a cutting-edge advertising agency to project a certain appearance, and since they were paying the bills, they got the image. She touched her wireless mouse and the computer screen came to life. 7 new emails since she had left for the boardroom 2 hours ago. She was responding to the 6th one when a man walked into her office. He was one of the 3 from the boardroom, the head of her web design department. "Nice work today," he said, leaning on the door jamb. His name was Kelly Kramer, a young-looking 36-year-old and one of Taylor's most trusted and valuable employees. He had thick dark hair parted in the middle and creeping down over his ears, a goatee that suited his rugged face and quick smile. For almost 5 years he had been a fixture in Taylor's inner circle and had grown close enough to be called a friend. "Thanks," she said, leaning back in the soft leather. She loved that chair. 12% of $6.2 million. Not bad for 2 months' work. "Our ideas were original," Kelly said. "We deserved that contract over New York and Chicago. They were serving up rehashed concepts. Whatever it was, it worked." "I'm out of here," he said, glancing at his watch. "Been in since 4 this morning, prepping for that meeting. I'll see you tomorrow." "Tomorrow." Taylor Simmons returned to answering her email. At 37, she was successful beyond even her own high expectations. She owned G Cubed, one of the most sought-after